What's good, everybody? It's UTXJT the Dine, back with another episode of the Hardest Thing podcast. And I am here with the guy who I don't even know if you knew that I pay attention to you, that I really mess with the stuff that you've been doing, especially over the last few years. And we'll get into how I ended up first discovering you. But I was like, yo, let me hit the dude up with a DM because he's doing a little bit of everything right now. I feel like your story is way too important for people not to hear. So introducing, if you did not know, Mr. Rainey Ovalle. What's going on, sir?
Thank you so much. Holy shit, you got it right on the first try. Wow.
I probably would have said Ovalle. I'm not gonna lie if I didn't hear you actually say it. So, like I said, this is why I do my research, because I don't want to fuck up your name. I don't want to butcher anybody's name. I know I've done it a lot of times. So yeah, no, I watched your interview and I was like, okay, it's Ovalle. So great.
Yeah. Thank you, man. No, I really appreciate the attention to detail, man. Thank you. Now,
Yes.
I've gotten Ovalle, Orville. There's not even an R in that motherfucker. I don't know where people come up with Orville and shit, but yeah,
I think that's where
much love.
Yeah, I think that's where people's minds go. They probably just see it. Like, it doesn't matter how it's spelled. You just see the O and then V and then V and then they just want to stick an R in it.
Mine goes olive.
Yeah, like something like that. Yeah, just something stupid. Stupid. But anyways,
thank you, man.
Yes, thank you for joining us. So again, this podcast, this platform, I wanted to use as a space to speak to people who I feel need to get their stories heard, people who inspire me personally. And, you know, whether you know it or not, now you know, you do inspire me in some form or fashion. Like I said, I've been following you for a while. And the way that I found you was actually through Twitter skits. And we'll get into that in a moment. I saw a couple of your skits and I was like, yo, this dude is funny as hell. So I hit you with a follow. And then all of a sudden, I blinked, and then you were like, "Oh, I'm on Decent Marrow." I'm like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "What?" What the hell happened? So I want to know about that entire journey. But let's start from the beginning. I wanna know a little bit about your personal life, growing up in the Bronx. You're Dominican. Me esposo es Puerto Rican, so I'm trying to learn my Espanol because I want my daughter to, of course, be bilingual, and my son on the way. So we're trying to get that popping. So yeah, let's talk about that. So born and raised in the Bronx. Let's talk about a little bit of your life leading up until when you started doing Twitter skits. So when I started noticing you and when you started going viral on social media.
Okay, so give me a year. Give me the year you started following me, so I can hone in on what that time period was like.
Let's see, what was that like? Because it's been a while. Because it's like the years just passed by. I want to say maybe 2017, 18. Because I can't even remember. It's been a while because I know you just stopped doing skits kind of out of nowhere. Yeah. Then I started seeing you just getting into a bunch of different ventures.
Yeah. Okay. So it was 2016, between 2016 and 2018. So that was either during Vine or right after Vine. And Vine was a huge proponent in my sort of social media presence, because that dopamine rush of just 6-second content, it was fast, bro. You had to be funny and that was it. You know what I'm saying? Like some people were intentional, like King Bach or whoever, you know what I'm saying? People like that. Yeah. And then other people were just kind of funny by accident, like Ice JJ Fish and shit. And me, I kind of leaned more towards the former, where I was trying to I was playing up certain things and doing things intentionally. So I was moving with intention on Vine and being okay, I have 6 seconds to be funny. What am I going to do? You know? And then that became all right, well, this is too long to be 6 seconds. And then around that time, so you mentioned I stopped doing skits, and the reason I stopped was because Twitter changed the camera. So Twitter's camera used to be the same as Vine's camera, where you could hold it down to record, and then when you let it go, it would stop recording. So I could record a bunch of stuff just native on Twitter, and then have it live on Twitter, and it not take up really any fucking space on my phone, really, and because I could just do shit and have it live right on Twitter and make it right on Twitter. Then the camera kind of changed, and then it became okay, well, I can't stop and go. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't hold it down to record and like I can't let it go to stop anymore.
Yeah.
Now I have to like record separate videos, put them all together in a different program, re-export it, and like it was just a whole thing.
Okay.
So I stopped doing. So that's why I stopped doing the skits because like Twitter's I guess Twitter's like software or whatever, they changed their software where like you couldn't stop and go Vine style anymore. And that's kind of what turned me off to the whole skits thing.
All right. Now, what just inspired you to even do skits or just share anything where you were just like, hey, like this is cool. Like I like Vine, I like Twitter. Let's just do it and see where it goes. Because you said it was intentional.
Yeah. It was intentional in that like I wasn't just like vlog. Like I feel like the average person treats social media like any video based social media like a vlog. You know what I'm saying? Like you go eat somewhere cool, you're gonna make a TikTok about the food you ate. You go, you know what I'm saying? Like you go to an exhibit in a museum, you're gonna post on IG about it. Like that's how the average person uses social media. But me, like the way I saw it at that time and like the way I kind of still do it, I still see it. I see it as like it's like half a window into my real life, half a marketing platform. So like you can use it as a platform to market yourself and like all of the things you do or the person you are and like get people invested in who you are as a person. And what I've noticed a lot about like, you know, people who like kind of exist on the opposite side of the spectrum where like they're just kind of a watcher, they're kind of just a consumer and they don't want to be perceived. They like one of my friends, she posted like a mirror pic, like a body pic, right? And her shit went crazy, like because she's built crazy, and she posted a mirror pic. She was feeling herself, and like she has every right to. She's fine as hell, but like the attention she got, like she texted me about it after the fact and was like, "Yo, what do I do? Like I've never gotten this much attention. I already went private. I'm getting requests from a bunch of men. Like this is more attention than I've ever wanted." And I always thought to myself like, it's so well, maybe not funny, but it's just so different, like seeing it from the other side. Because for me, that's all I want. Like I thrive on attention. I thrive on positive attention. Negative attention makes me anxious, and I hate it. That's why I try my best to just make people laugh. You know, that's really my biggest thing. But like some people want no attention at all. Like some of my friends are like, I don't know how you do it, Rainey. Like you're going back and forth with people on Twitter all day, and like if I get like 10 retweets on a tweet, I will delete it. And I'm like, wow, that's so interesting how different we are, you know? But
yeah.
So that's what I mean by like intentional, where like I like people be like, oh, like you just tweeting for attention. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I 100% am tweeting for attention. Why the fuck? What other reason is there to tweet? At least for me, you know? And the reason I was making the skits was to get that attention. And also I tried to make skits I hadn't seen before. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially on Vine and Twitter and stuff, like I just tried to make skits that, to my knowledge, didn't exist prior. So that way, like that particular like corner of comedy hadn't been touched yet, and then so I would capitalize on that.
Very, very interesting that one, you were doing it intentionally, and two, you were trying to do things that, you know, you haven't seen before, but ultimately it was to get attention, you know, and or make this into something. So let's get into that. So you were going viral. What were you doing in the middle of, you know, going viral on social media at the time? Did you have a 9 to 5? What were you doing in the middle of that?
In the middle of like, so we're still in that 2018.
Yeah, we're still in the Vine early Twitter era.
In the Vine area. Oh,
yes,
okay. So
yes.
before dadhood.
Yeah, before dadhood.
Okay. So before Jesus and Mero, which was around like 2021. Before that, I had been a tattoo artist for a decade. So that's what I was doing. And it was real funny because like I would get DMs and shit. Like, yo, Rainey, what do you do? Because like I would post stuff like, oh, this is my, I moved into this house. It's really dope. This nice apartment. You know what I'm saying? Like oh, like I just bought an arcade machine. Oh, I just bought this. I just bought that. I bought this whole manga collection. I bought all of Berserk. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so people would ask me like, Rainey, what do you do? Like, I got DMs like, hey, do you sell drugs or something? Like, what's going on? I was like, oh nah, I'm a tattoo artist, bro. I just happen to be real nice at what I do. So I make decent money. But Twitter, like, I don't know why I never thought to like intersect like the two. So if you go on my Instagram, it is a very different vibe from my Twitter. Like all my skits basically live on Twitter. Like all my skits, any funny shit lives on Twitter. My IG is like the most boring normie shit ever because it's mostly just my tattoos and my kids. Because I treat Instagram as like a portfolio.
Okay.
And I treat Twitter like my Charlie wall, from It's Always Sunny, the meme of Charlie like going crazy on the fucking wall, like with all the lines in the string and the fucking like that's Twitter for me. But IG was more professional, and I never thought to intersect the two. So none of my tattoos basically ever made it to Twitter unless somebody tried me about my tattoos and was like, "Oh, he probably ain't even like that." And I'm like, "Who not like that?" And then
like, "Oh yeah,
my work,
yeah." Like, well, let me show you this. Okay.
Yeah, and then I'd post my work, and then people would stop talking. But yeah, so I never thought to intersect the two. So that entire time, to answer your question, I was tattooing.
Okay, all right.
Like
so
10
tattoo,
years, yeah.
all right, tattoo artist for a decade, going viral on Twitter / social media. All right, so you're doing all of this, and then all of a sudden, Jesus and Mero happens, or at least according to the people who are not in your immediate circle, like AKA me, like the people on the outside looking in. So how did that transition happen? Tattoo artist to all of a sudden I'm on Jesus and Mero, like I'm actually doing stuff for them, social media, media consulting, all of that. How did that transition happen?
So, the way that happened was pretty funny. Me and Mero had been mutuals for a while. Like he had been fucking with my content and stuff and like seeing what I was doing and shit for a while. It wasn't until so I guess after the fall of Vine and after Twitter's camera like was no longer stop and go, that's when the skits stopped on Twitter.
Right.
And after that, I founded shortly after that I founded Hearst Boys. So like somewhere in 2017, I founded Hearst Boys. And Hearst Boys, I was like, yo guys, let's really hunker down and like focus on streaming and like secondary media, like VODs on YouTube, like, and let's really do this YouTube shit. And part of the YouTube thing, I love movies, I love TV, film, and video games. I thought the first step in cultivating a sort of YouTube career with Hearst Boys was, reviewing games that I played or games that I played and films that I've seen. And my favorite holiday is Halloween. And I decided, I don't know why the fuck I decided this. I decided to take it upon myself to do a series called 31 Nights and 31 Frights. And it is still live on Hearst Boys' YouTube channel. It's a playlist. And it is 31 movie reviews that I did, one every single day for the month of October. I had to, just for perspective, I had to watch the film. As I'm watching the film, I have to ingest and digest the film I just saw, write a script for the review, film the review, and then edit the review. But not only edit the review, I had to, because this was before Twitter blew and before Elon fucked the platform. This was before all of that. So whether you were verified or not, you had no choice but to limit your videos to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So that's 31 days in October, a film review every single day, plus a 2 minute and 20-second version of that same review for Twitter, which is, again, also on Hearst Boys' Twitter right now. Just type in 31 Nights, 31 Frights, and it's all there. So that's 62 videos in a month. And among those videos was a film that Mero was actually in called Vampires versus the Bronx. And I liked the film, but I also had my reservations and I was also critical of it. And Mero hit me up and was like, yo, the fact that you did all that and like you weren't paid and like you just did that shit out of the love, like and you put all that shit together yourself, like that's the kind of shit we need at Jesus Mero. And he was like, I also like that, you said what you didn't like about the film, but you weren't a dickhead about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you kept it funky, like you kept it respectful. And yeah, and he was like, yeah, so I think that we need you on the social media team because that kind of work ethic goes crazy.
Mm.
And I was like, bet, say less, And then this is a funny story about Mero. This is the kind of just to show your audience, just so you guys. And this is the last little anecdote before I finish this point. This is the kind of guy Mero is, right? So I came on season 3, and I was still tattooing at the time because I could not afford my rent and fatherly expenses. I couldn't afford to feed and clothe my son and pay our rent on just one or the other. I needed both. And that was all of season 3, and I was mostly remote. So for season 3, after season 3 wrapped, Mero calls me and he goes, yo, they're running the numbers. They're seeing who's going to move up, who's going to leave, who we're going to keep. And a bunch of people are saying they haven't seen you in the office. So like, what's up? What's going on? And I was like, oh, bro, because I'm still tattooing. Like, like I have to do both. I can't really afford to do just one. And he was like, get the fuck out of here. How much are they paying you? And I told him, and he didn't say a word. He just hung up. He hung up the phone. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I hope I still have like a job. You know what I mean?
Damn.
A day later, he calls me. He goes, yo, you're coming back season 4. Your salary is doubled. I want to see you in the office. That's the kind of guy Mero is.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, that's super amazing. Like, I don't know about like your like just mental capacity, but I think like a lot of people would have folded, would have been like, what the F is going on? Like, this dude just hung up like in the middle of me saying this, and like I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, luckily, like you still probably like if for some reason you would have gotten fired, you still would have been tattooing. Like you still would have had something. It's not like you said, hey, like F y'all, I'm done with tattooing. Like I'm just going to go do something else. So at least you had that in the backdrop. But like imagine if somebody didn't have something and, for some reason that still would have happened. Like you would have just got fired and not picked up for season 4. Like that would have been crazy. But also on the positive, like you had that relationship with Mero already. So like I don't think he would have, did you dirty like that, like saying that like, you were the homie at that point. So that's super dope. That's a super interesting story to how that worked and how continued to work with them until ultimately Jesus and Mero decided to part ways. So let's get right into that. So Jesus and Mero, they said they're done. I'm sure you got DMs like crazy. I'm sure everybody out the wazoo was asking you what happened because you were a part of the show. So, everybody is clamoring, trying to get some information. I'm not that type of person. I don't care. It's personal business, whatever between them and them, it's between them. So, but since I've always seen that you had this personal relationship with Mero. What ended up happening right after that to the point where you started working at Sports Talk? Because I know that one of your it really wasn't a skit because it was super real. Like, I think this was the realest shit I've ever seen from somebody who's like, for the most part, like always funny. And I seen you explain this, but I want you to recall this again, because you had a specific video where you talked about the day in the life of, an unemployed, like a person who's unemployed. And you like were literally just going through your life, like all through it. And I was like, yo, like this shit is crazy. Like he's literally giving us the intricate life, but like this is real. Like it's so real that you got to laugh at it. Like you can't do anything but laugh at it. But how was that point? Like, because like I was like, yo, my man is looking at jobs like all day. And it's like, bro, this shit is depressing. So how did you end up letting on your feet getting that Sports Talk after Jesus and Mero wrapped up?
So, I mean, okay, I appreciate you not wanting to pry about Jesus and Mero's like personal relationship or whatever. But I'm going to tell you anyway, just because the real story is like super boring. Like they had creative differences. Like they just grew apart. And it really is that simple. At least, excuse me, so the reason, like, okay, I've said this on other podcasts before, but like people on Reddit need to fucking go outside, because like I tweeted something thanking Mero for the opportunity. And this is because I know Mero personally. Mero scouted me personally for his show, right?
Yeah.
And Reddit, fucking Bodega Hive Reddit, took that to be like shade towards Deezus.
Right.
Like somebody was like, wow, notice how he thanked Mero, but not Deezus. Wow. I'm like, yo, because I was hired by Mero. I wasn't hired by Deezus. And Mero and I have cultivated a personal relationship. Not saying I don't fuck with Deezus, because me and Deezus cool. Like, I'm sure you saw the Office Hours skit on the Deezus and Mero YouTube channel. I was in that chopping it up with both Deezus and Mero. Like, we were all cool. It was cool.
Right.
So like, it wasn't no type of shade or nothing. It's just, yo, Mero's the one that opened the door for me. He's like a mentor, a big brother to me. So I'm gonna thank my big brother. Like,
yeah,
you know. But
yeah, exactly.
Fucking Reddit. So yeah. So you know, the fucking the short and sweet of it is, they just grew apart after doing that shit for so long. You know, like they had creative differences. Mero has been cultivating his lane, you know, that entire time. Deezus was cultivating his lane the entire time, and it just is what it is. I wish the network would have gone about it differently. I wish Showtime would have, you know, given us a little bit more time and not cancel the show in the middle of the season, in the middle of a hiatus. But it is what it is. It happened. And but yeah, so that's just to answer that. I know the real answer isn't spicy or juicy. It's just real fucking boring. But listen, sometimes real life is fucking boring, and that's just what it is. But
indeed,
as far as like, so yeah, I mean, the reason I made that skit, the, you know, day in the life, was I wanted to like do the opposite of like the fucking like Zoomer influencer, like New York transplant TikTok, where it's like they have like the most like inconsequential, like non-fucking confrontational day ever, where it's just like, I woke up at 2:30, then I went to brunch until 4, then I read a book on a bench until 6, then I came home and showered and went to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What? And the whole time they're like walking their Shar-Pei, and like they're in an apartment, like, you know, the video, there's like floor to ceiling windows. They're clearly in a high rise. Like, who are you? Right? Like, what is like, this is not you. This
not
is
real
not
life.
you. You're not a person.
Yeah.
You're not a person. Nobody can fucking relate to this. Right? So that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna make the fucking opposite of that. I was like, I'm gonna go the complete opposite way and make the complete opposite fucking like script it this way, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, say what I'm gonna say to I guess exist in antithesis to that setup of like my life is so perfect, look at me, I'm a TikTok influencer, New York is my playground. No, fuck that. I'm a struggling father of 2. I haven't had a job in fucking 4 or 5 months. The depression is killing me, and if I don't make this TikTok, I'm gonna fucking kill myself. Like, that's
damn. Hey man.
Yeah, like
that's real though.
Yeah,
that's a real shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So that's how that happened. So yeah.
Okay. And then all of a sudden did you actually reach out to Amazon for Sports Talk, or did you get a connect in order to land that job?
No, they reached out to me.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah. They reached out to so this guy Bailey Carlin, shout out to Bailey. He runs his own consulting firm, and okay, so Sports Talk is an Embassy Row production. Embassy Row, the most famous thing they've ever made is probably Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's Embassy Row. They are responsible for that show. I believe they also did Supermarket Sweep. I don't know. I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me on that. But they for sure, the CEO, the founder and CEO of Embassy Row is the mind behind Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Like, that's how he got his big break or whatever.
All right.
Michael Davies. Shout out to Michael. And yeah, so Sports Talk is Embassy Row, Sony, and Amazon Prime Video. I guess the 3 of them.
All right.
So it's Prime at the top, then Sony, then Embassy Row. Right? So I work for Embassy Row, who is contracted by Amazon.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
following.
So Bailey, he apparently, like, he had known about me for a while. He'd known about me from Jesus Amaro, and he was like, no, we got to get this guy. So he was like, yo, I fuck with your personality. I like what you did on Jesus Amaro. I like all your funny stuff. Like your Twitter is hilarious. I think you'd be a great fit for here because they need creative people. Like they need, you know what I'm saying? Like they need shit to pop off. So I was like, all right, bet, say that. And yeah, I mean, 7 months after being unemployed, I got a fucking job at Sports Talk thanks to Bailey Carlin.
That's
So,
awesome,
yeah,
man. Awesome. Yeah, so the connects ended up, putting you in your next position at Sports Talk and doing some very interesting stuff there too, with your content. Some dark stuff, but also very, very comedic. It seems, just right for your personality. And again, that's where you shine compared to, other people who, may just make everything all lighthearted and essentially unrelatable, at some point, like you mentioned, just unrelatable content for the masses. Like the relatable content is what really sticks. So let's talk about some other hobbies or ventures that I've seen you get into, mainly on Twitter, because that's where I live. I live on Twitter. So I believe this was also during the Jesus and Mero era for you, but sex work. So I saw that at one point you had a lady and you were doing sex work. So how did that happen? Was that your idea? Was that her idea at the time? Where you just like forget it? Like this just seems fun. Like how did you even get into that? I'm curious.
So I'd always played around with the idea of doing it, but like, it's because of like, societal like norms and, power dynamics and like just gender norms and I guess gender roles and stuff like that, and just like the way we're socialized as far as like cisgender heterosexual people are concerned. Um, if if a woman in sex work were to approach me about it, I would be fine, right? Because like there's no sort of I guess there's no sort of preconceived danger from a woman approaching me. But there is a preconceived danger of a man from men approaching women because historically and statistically we do not take rejection well. We react violently. We are and we are dangerous, Um, so I've always wanted to, but as a single man, as a single straight man, like, and I've always been mutuals with sex workers. Like I've always been cool with sex workers. I've always went up for sex workers online and stuff. So I was never a stranger to that space. And being a tattooer for 10 years, working on Fordham Road in the Bronx, like you're gonna meet a couple of the girls, you know what I'm saying, and you're gonna get cool with them. Okay. So I've been around this shit, you know what I mean. So you know what I'm saying, like I'm like from it, low key. So, yeah. So just like as a straight dude trying to get with women and stuff, like, or not trying to get with them, but like I just didn't know how to like go about like initiating that, right? Especially like as someone who would be a new creator, right, who had nothing to show for it and shit. Like I didn't want to be that guy.
Right.
And then I started dating Blue. Hold on, excuse me. Then I started dating Blue, and Blue was a sex worker like before we started dating. And she was like, "Hey, you totally don't have to, but I think it'd be really cool if we made content together." And I was like, "All right, bet. Let's like record some stuff and like I'll see how I feel about it, and we'll take it from there." And I ended up being really into it. I was like, "Wow, this looks really good. Like we look good together."
Mm.
And she was like, "Yeah, so do you want to like do this? Like I know I know you've never done it before. I know it's this and this." I was like, "Yeah, no, let's do this shit. Like it's much less stigmatized for me as a man." You know what I'm saying? Like there's not a whole lot of ramifications of my family finding out and stuff like that. Like in the sex work space, men have it easier, period.
Mm.
Like that's just the fact of the matter. So I wasn't worried as much about it. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So anyway, we do it, but she's like, oh, well, OF's like OnlyFans' policy is that anybody who appears in the video has to be tagged because it could technically be revenge porn. Like
Okay.
if you don't, yeah, like if you don't tag the person you're in the video with, who's to say that who's to say that wasn't uploaded without consent?
Okay, that's interesting. All right.
Yeah, but if you tag the person and then it's not reported or whatever, then obviously it's implied consent because, like, okay, this person is tagged, meaning this person knows that they are in this video, meaning it's legitimized, meaning it's consensual. So that's kind of how OnlyFans works. So I had to make an OnlyFans in order for her to upload that video, and then we did some numbers on there, and then like I just kept going, and I haven't really collabed with anybody since. I don't know that I'm in the headspace too, but that's why I've been working out because like I wasn't exactly happy with my body for a long time. And sex work, it's all body. You know what I'm saying? So like you have to show your fucking body, and me not feeling desirable, not feeling all that sexy and shit, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't exactly in the headspace to like make content, which is why I haven't been for so long. But I got some shit in the works. Once I get a little closer to my body goals and shit, we back up.
Okay, all right. So long story short, you're not done. So you did it for a little bit. You were like, let me chill out for a little bit. Let me get my mental and my body right, and then once that's done, then you'll get back into it. Okay. All right. That's very interesting. Like I said, I don't know any sex workers. I don't know anything about this. So I was definitely curious. Because again, that was another thing that all of a sudden, like, again, just me on the outside looking in, like you popped up. I was like, okay, like I see you got a lady. I was like clearly they're doing something together. So I was definitely curious on, how that sex worker life was. So that's cool. Another thing that you have been going viral on is music. So you were an artist. You have been making music, and you were definitely going hard. I would imagine since you had the the quote unquote free time when not having a job. It was like, hey, let me make some music, and see what pops. I'm not gonna lie, man. I listened to one of the songs that wasn't tagged by you, but somebody said, hey, I was listening to this song and you popped up, and it was Entonces.
Entonces, yeah,
bro, and
that's
bro,
a new joint, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that shit's high. I put it on my playlist. I listened to it. I was like, yo, I'm messing with this beat. I was like, I don't understand what Rainey is saying because Espanol it's very bad right now. Listening to it, but I was like, yo, this shit is hot. And then one of the other songs before that I listened to was was it Vodka and Soda?
Vodka Pepsi.
Vodka Pepsi, yeah. But yeah,
that's
Vodka
Pepsi. That's the one that's pinned. The one that's pinned.
Yes,
right,
yes. And again, it had a very interesting video concept to it. And a lot of people seem to be messing with it. I was like, yo, let me listen. I was like, yo, this shit is hot as well. Like, again, something that I didn't know you had in you, but I know that you were, into hip hop a lot because, and correct me if I'm wrong, but one of your favorite hip hop artists is MF Doom. Is that your favorite?
Yeah, that's my
of all time?
He's my all-time favorite, best rapper of all time.
Okay,
best rapper of all time. Me personally, I know all art, all music, whatever is subjective, but I think objectively nobody is rhyming words like Doom ever. In the history of the fucking game, nobody is doing that shit. The only person I can think of that comes even a little fucking close is Big Pun. Doom and Pun are like you know what I'm saying? Like right there. And it's close, but Doom, just a little higher on the echelon.
Okay.
But
okay.
Doom is my favorite of all time.
So what got you into making music besides obviously your love of it? Because you were making different types of music too. You're not just doing like just straight hip hop like trap shit or like the hardcore like New York shit, boom bap stuff. Like you're doing some other type of stuff like in Tulsa, like I mentioned before. So what got you into making music and doing more intricate type of stuff, like having different layers to your musicality?
Yeah, so that's a good question, man. So I didn't grow up with. So I have my father. So there's my father and there's my dad. They're two different people. My father is the reason I'm here. My dad is the guy that raised me.
Right.
So my father, I didn't grow up with him really. I kind of saw him a couple times a year when I was like a little kid, but those are very vague memories. I don't really remember that stuff. And then we just like didn't talk. And, he didn't really like reach out or whatever. But I want to say a lot of it is hereditary. Like a lot of it is from him because he's a professional pianist
Ah.
um,
Okay.
in Dominican Republic. So like he goes and tours with different artists. He's nasty. My father is nasty on the fucking piano. Like
Mm.
he's like that dude is a fucking problem. Um, so if anything, it's the one thing that he left me of use. you know, my dad is not super musically inclined like that. Like he's more of a provider. Like he's like, I'm gonna get this job. I'm gonna provide for my family. I'm gonna pay the bills. I'm gonna take care of these kids. Like
Yeah.
he's very much like that, like a traditional dude. My father was a Rolling Stone, man. Like you cannot keep that man down. And like me being an adult now with my own place, my own bills, and my own kids, like yeah, I kind of understand him. I'm not gonna abandon my sons the way he abandoned me. I know not to get crazy dark or whatever on here, but like, it is what it is. Like I've lived a life now. I'm 29. Like we can talk about this shit candidly because it doesn't like hurt us. It doesn't really like hurt like that. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna abandon my sons or whatever. But like I understand my dad. Like I'm not exactly a one woman kind of guy. I'm not exactly monogamous. Like, yeah, and like I need to be free. Like I need to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it, and the same approach applies to music. And like I've been that way legit since I was like I've been making music since I was like 17. And I was like when I was 17, I was trying really hard to sound like what people would like. And I was trying really hard to emulate Doom and all this stuff. But like, it took like 12 years. Like I'm 29 now. It took this long for me to be like, nah, like you can do whatever you want and people are gonna fuck with it because you're you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, all right, bet. You know what I mean? Like I'm just telling myself like, just be confident in the product because people are gonna fuck with it. If you're confident in it, people like if you communicate that this shit is hard, people are gonna agree that it's hard. And that's kind of the approach I've had. And like, I think you asked also like, what made me go into like all these different styles and shit.
Yeah.
Just like I don't know. I've never been one to be limited. Like even with women, like I don't have a type. You know what I'm saying? Like I like petite, tall, short, fat. Like I don't like. You know what I'm saying? Like
Say
there's
okay.
there's no wrong type of woman for me.
All right.
I like them. I like them pretty bad. That's it. I don't have no height requirements. I have no hair requirements. I have no weight. None of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
I don't give a fuck. And I'm the same way with music, bro. Like like if it sounds fire, I'm fucking with it. I don't care what it is. And if I listen to any genre long enough, I kind of start getting it. I start breaking it down in my head. It's like the way I see music is like picture a puzzle complete, right? The way I break music down is like I take the puzzle apart piece by piece. And then when I'm making my own music, I put the puzzle back together using pieces from different music. So
Mm.
like when I posted this song called "A Shadow Over Kingsbridge," which is like a dark wave drill hybrid, that was me going like, okay, well, I like these dark wave like synth sounds from this goth music, but I like the hi hats and the 808s from this drill music. What if we make the BPM 170 and then fucking, like make a fucking homunculus too?
Yeah, just splice them
And that's
together.
how,
Yeah.
yeah, and splice them shits together, and that's how that shit is born. But yeah, man, I just don't believe in limits. I don't have a type when it comes to women, and I don't want to pigeonhole myself because especially like that label of rapper, like God forbid if you make it as a rapper, God forbid you want to do anything else.
It's
All of a
tough,
sudden,
bro. It's tough.
yeah, yeah, all of a sudden you are shitting on the genre. You forgot where you came from. Oh, nobody now everybody get on as a rapper, and now they don't want to be one no more. And it's like, yo, I think people are vastly misinterpreting what artists mean when they say that. It's like, just, it's not so much like, oh, fuck rap or fuck the rapper label. It's just keep an open mind.
Yeah.
Right? Like, don't put me in this box, you know, when I am and could be so much more than that. So like Yachty's last album, fucking amazing. I'd rather listen to that than anything he had put out previously. But if you look at it through the lens of, oh, Lil Yachty, the rapper, you're going to go, what the fuck is this? Because you're expecting Lil Yachty, the rapper.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I get it.
You're not expecting Lil Yachty in like experimental jazz guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
experimental electronic jazz, whatever. You're not expecting that. So I think that whole conversation comes from like, just, yo, guys, let's curb our expectations and let's just be open about what this artist is about to put out. And that's the approach I've been taking. Like, I've been very careful about not wanting to be pigeonholed and like just making sure that I let people know from jump I'm capable of anything.
Mm-hmm. That was a very deep, and this is what I wanted to hear from you, a very deep explanation as to why you do what you do. Going back to the Yachty project, and you're right, like rappers, I feel like rappers get a super hard time compared to like any other genre of artists. Like, I feel like a country artist could come over and do, you know, a collaboration with a rapper, doesn't get any crap. But if a rapper goes and gets a country artist, then it's like, what are you doing? Why are you trying to do something else? Like, anytime a rapper tries to do something else, then yeah, like you just automatically get in that hole. But other artists, other genres, they don't, you know, get the same type of criticisms. With Yachty's album, like I said, I'm not mad at anybody doing any type of experimenting, because again, like when you do something for so long, you're going to get bored. I think that's just the natural way. Like it doesn't matter how long it takes. Like, a lot of people do things behind the scenes just because they want to keep their audience and they know it makes them money. But, you know, and God forbid they, you know, try something else because they truly want to do it. Then, you know, then they're going to get shit on, because again, it's not the thing that got you hot. But again, like, you do have to let people do what they do. Keep an open mind. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Like, I didn't like Yachty's last project, but again, I'm not going to shit on and be like, yo, this shit fucking sucked, because like I never saw Yachty as like a super intricate rapper anyways. Like, so I didn't care. Like, I like some of Yachty's music, but like I never, you know, went to him as like the go-to if I want to hear like some deep intricate lyrics. Like, I like them for a different reason, like mainly for production. I'm a production first type of guy when it comes to hip hop, period. If I don't mess with the production, I'm not going to mess with the lyrics. That's just how I've always been. I know a lot of people are different ways, but I could tell they're lying, because if you heard some of the things that rappers said, like, and if you had morals, like, you would be like, yo, like, I'm not like keep it real. Like, you know, it's a lot of shit that I like that I'm like, yo, I would never in a million years like go out and shoot somebody, do a drill, you know, fuck all these hoes. Like, that's just not me. That's you know, my morality. I'm just not with that. But I like the production first, and if I mess with the production, I'm a huge 808 type of person. Like, if it's banging for me, then I like it. But I do like, you know, other things too, like. For example, like my mom, when I was growing up, we all used to listen to the R&B station like all the time. I used to listen to all old school Sade, Temptations, Isley Brothers, Luther Vandross, you name it, just all R&B all the time. And I used to hate it. I used to hate it so much. I'm like, yo, can we please turn it on the hip hop station? I want to hear something. Yes. And my mom just would not let me. She's like, I don't like hip hop, like whatever. Like, I just don't like it. So, you know, when I got to a certain age, my first album, I got Big Timers. I got the Big Timers album. And,
oh shit. Hey. That's fire.
And you couldn't tell me nothing. I was in 4th grade. I'm like, this is the best shit ever. I'm like, this is the best shit ever. And then I got a Missy Elliott tape for Hot Boys. And I was like, yo, all right, you can't tell me nothing. I just started like recording stuff that came on the radio. And, you know, my mom actually started letting me listen to it. And, you know, that's when my love for hip hop grew. But I appreciate everything that she made me listen to, because now I have a totally different perspective on like old school R&B and just music as a whole. Because I like heard a whole bunch of old stuff. So now, like, fast forward to 2023, like, I understand why like a lot of young people, they probably didn't get that same experience. Like, you had to go even further back to listen to old school stuff. But now, like, we're kind of in this this interesting renaissance because a lot of producers and artists are taking old school like 70s, 80s, even 90s, 2000s, whatever, all that stuff that came, decade before, and now they're splicing into, new songs. So so it's very interesting. And for you personally, like I listened to, a lot of the stuff that you shared on social media. And yeah, I may not like every single thing that you did, but there are certain things that I do like. And I would never be like, yo, man, Randy, this shit fucking sucks. Like, just because I don't like it. Like, it's cool if I don't like it. But again, I let you do what you do. And I think that, again, because you already don't want to get pigeonholed and, hey, I'm a rapper because, I've done a couple of MF Doom inspired songs, then that puts you in a different space because you're just doing whatever the hell you want to do, and whatever sticks, whatever that a certain person likes, they're gonna like. But you're just trying a whole bunch of different things, and just being you, just doing whatever because you like music as a whole, not that you just like one particular genre or one particular sound of music. So I think that's super dope. I honestly think that's super dope. And like I said, I would definitely, mess with a lot of stuff that you were putting out. I'm like, yo, does he want to be an artist for real? Like, I was like thinking for a second. I was like, is this something that he really wants to like truly do and see if it can blow up? Like, is it just a hobby right now, or like if it pops off for real, like would you continue to pursue it more at this point?
Honestly, I try to give everything I do the similar amount, if not equal attention. So like right now excuse me. Right now it's work, the kids, that's always going to be a constant. But right now it's music. Um I am wrapping up Dark Summer. The Dark Summer EP is going to be out this summer, obviously. And after that it's going to be Urban Tundra. Um so right now I'm wrapping up Dark Summer, and honestly, like whatever happens, happens, man. Like this social media management stuff, like I don't want to do this forever. Like I want to be an actor. I want to write a screenplay. Like I want to do all this stuff. It's just a matter of time. And like it's a matter of time and a matter of patience, because when I was up like 2 years ago, when I was up doing fucking 31 nights and 31 frights, like literally, like I swear to God, like there was a part like around like the 20th, like October 20th, like the 20th or 21st video, late one day. I was late on uploads because like Godric got like sick or whatever. He kept waking up in the middle of the night. And like I just passed out at my computer. So I missed an upload. And I was getting to the point where I was like, yo, this is fucking stupid. Like, I'm just gonna stop. Like, I don't know why I fucking did this shit anyway. Like, and then like my videos were getting like less than 100 views each. Like, so I was like, what am I even, what I'm saying? Like, what's even the point? Like nobody fucking cares. Like nobody's watching this shit. Like, I'm trying my hardest to like put out a good product and shit. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I was just real like discouraged,
Yeah.
and I was like, you know what? Like, fuck this shit, bro. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. And I was like, but nah, fuck that, because I said I was going to do something. So I need to do it.
Mhm.
I need to see it through. And there's only like 10 days left. Like, I got this. I may be behind, and, I may be due 2 videos now as opposed to the one daily, or sorry, 4, because there's the YouTube review and then there's the Twitter review.
The
So I
short,
had to do
yeah.
4 videos in it. Yeah, so I was 4 videos in a day that I had to do. But I saw it through, and I was like, man, like, fuck it, we're here, like, we did it. And lo and behold, that's what ends up getting me the job at Jesus Mero. Mero saw the review, so like that was the moment that changed things for me, because I was like, yo, it's not how many views you get, it's who is watching.
Yes, sir.
It's like it's not about how many people are watching, it's about who is watching. Because like for me, that review, actually, you know what? I'm gonna look this shit up right now, matter of fact. Because that review, like if I look up like the actual if I look up like the actual numbers, let me see here. I remember it not like doing a whole lot, like not doing a whole lot numbers wise, but where is it? Right here, 31 nights, 31 frights. Here it is. And yeah, oh my god. Yeah, this video here, uh yeah, that's so funny. It's got less than 1,000 views.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So to the average person, you know, who doesn't know who's watching, that's like, oh man, like this did not do no type of damage. You know what I'm saying? Like this did not reach any type of audience. But one of those views is middle.
Yeah.
And that one view, him watching it that one time, was enough for him to be like, you know what? I want this guy on my show. So anybody watching, listening, like, it doesn't fucking matter. If you're streaming and you're getting 2 people, those 2 people are going to watch your stream religiously. Those 2 people are going to listen to your podcast, listen to your music, and eventually they're going to post it one day and they're going to touch somebody that it hadn't touched before. And that person is going to have the influence to get you to that next level.
Yes, sir.
So
indeed.
Yeah.
So vanity metrics are the devil. They're the devil in a sense. It's like, obviously that's what we're all pushing for. Like, you want the maximum amount of people watching, you know, whatever that you're putting out for people to consume. But again, in your case and, you know, other people's cases, I'm sure they can attest to, again, all it took is one person seeing it, the right person at the time during that exact moment that can get you to the next level. And, you know, I've seen that too. You know, on my end as well. So like I said, it doesn't really matter. But the fact that you kept pushing, you know, it got you to this point. So that was another step in your life, another phase in your life. And now look where you are. So again, it's all a series of moments in life, literally all a series of moments in life. Let's transition over to horror because you've been speaking about it multiple times. So if you did not know, one of our mutuals, Psycho Snow.
Hey.
Yes,
Jen, what's good?
Yeah, so I saw that, you know, she used to do a horror podcast, and I listened to the podcast that featured you.
Nice.
So for the audience, you know, you're a huge horror fan. So what are your favorite horror films of all time?
Top 5 horror films for me would probably have to be Hereditary first.
Okay.
I know Sammy and Jen are gonna hate that. Hereditary.
I mean, you all have an argument about the Hereditary.
Yeah. Hereditary up top. After that is John Carpenter's The Thing.
Okay.
Let's see. After that, probably Godzilla 1954.
All
or
right.
1951 in Japan. Because like that movie was scary as hell. Like that first Godzilla movie, people forget that shit is terrifying. It's fucking sad. Like that movie's so sad. But yeah, if you haven't seen Godzilla, the original Godzilla, I highly recommend it. Like it's a fucking national treasure. Like that film is incredible. What they were able to work through and like the things they were able to accomplish with the limited resources they had just 4 years after being, it's fucking crazy. But yeah. So yeah, Godzilla 1954, I classify as a horror movie.
All right.
So yeah, what was it? Hereditary.
The Thing, Godzilla.
What else? Oh, probably the original Evil Dead. That's a good one.
Classic, love it.
Yeah. And I guess, you know what? I guess off the top of my head, that 5th and final spot would probably have to go to The Conjuring, first one.
The Conjuring. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you remember
I'm a sucker for possession movies.
I see. You remember when you first started watching horror movies? Like, you remember like the first one that you saw? You remember?
Yeah. I saw the first one I ever saw that like scared the shit out of me was I got up. Like I got up to use the bathroom when I was like 5 or 6 years old, and my parents were in the living room late at night, and they were watching. It was on like Univision or whatever. So it was a Spanish dub of The Exorcist 2, The Heretic, and The Exorcist is one of the greatest horror films of all time. It's not in my top 5 because like I while I appreciate it for what it is, it just doesn't hold that high a spot in my personal top 5. It's in the top 10 for sure for me, but top 5 no. But anyway, all the sequels, and there's like 3 of them. There's The Exorcist 2 and 3, which is stupid. Like why do those exist? The Exorcist ended on a perfect note. Like there was no need for sequels. But anyway, but that's what was on. It was cable TV. That's what was on. That's what they were watching.
Yeah.
So they're watching The Exorcist 2, and I walk out and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And like there's like that scene. There's a scene with the demon that like shows up on like the opacity is like it's like a ghost over the screen, and she's got this creepy smile. And I'm like, oh nah, I gotta get the fuck out of here. And that shit scared the shit out of me. And like I remember from young, like films didn't move me at a young age because like I wasn't in a position to understand a film like The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari or something like that. Like I wasn't in a position to understand like The Lobster. You know what I'm saying? When I was like 14, 15. Like I wasn't in that space mentally to understand like drama, you know?
Yeah.
And like action movies were cool, but they didn't, but like, you know, whatever, it's an action movie. Horror movies. That like fear is so primal. You know what I mean? Fear is such a primal feeling. And like the fact that a film was able to do that to me was crazy. So that's how I fell in love with horror. Like, and I stopped getting nightmares and stuff once I realized that like, oh, this is a production. So I think after that, the first movie that really, really, really scared me was 13 Ghosts.
Okay.
That movie scared the fuck out of me. But then I bought it on Blu-ray and I watched the special features. And I was like, oh, these are just people doing a thing. You know what I mean? Like the Frankenstein monster guy. Yeah. Like the Frankenstein monster guy or the lady with the cage on her head. Like that's not a ghost. Like I'm not looking at a ghost. That's a lady in makeup on a set of a production.
Right.
So like once I internalized it like that, I was never afraid of horror movies ever again.
Wow.
And yeah, because you know, I put that together in my brain that was like this like in The Conjuring, this is not I'm not watching a real family go through this. I'm watching James Wan make a horror film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what happened.
Interesting. I have like a love-hate relationship with horror movies. I like horror movies. Yeah, I like horror movies to a sense where like I like the idea of like this could possibly be real. Like and that's why as I got older, I started really getting more into like the demonic type of movie. Like I love The Conjuring. I love Hereditary, Midsommar. I like that too. Like those type of movies like scare the shit out of me because it really makes me think. Like if this could possibly be real, like what would I do in those situations? And those are the type of movies that like even today, like especially if I watch it at night, I'm like immediately like any type of dark area in my house, I'm like, yo, what if something pops out? Like that's what I think. And then when the morning comes, I'm like, all right, I'm good. Like there's nothing there, but like I still like have those like internalizing thoughts. Like, damn, what if something pops out? So I remember when I was young, like Child's Play, like Chucky scared the mess out of me because again, you know, you have dolls, action figures. You're like, okay, what if this is possibly real? It's gonna, you know, kill me with a knife. Hellraiser was another one just because you know just the pins in his head, Pinhead. I was just
Pinhead was nuts. All the Cenobites were nuts. What's this dude? The Cenobite that fucked me up the most. The Chatterer. Do you remember him?
No.
He's the one with the teeth. He don't talk. He just goes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't seen Hellraiser in like forever.
Bruh.
So.
Bruh, fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. But also, like, yeah, so you mentioned Child's Play. The funny thing about Chucky, I was never afraid of Chucky. Because, like, size, like, for me, like, I went to school with kids way bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was really, like, you know, like, some of these kids I had problems with. So I was like, well, I got to fight this big motherfucker in the 6th grade. Like, what am I afraid of a 2-foot tall doll for? You know what I mean? Like Chucky, Puppet Master, like the doll stuff never scared me until The Conjuring. Until Annabelle. I was like, okay, cool. Because Annabelle did it right in the sense that like Annabelle herself, you never see her move. She's never moving. Her mouth's not moving. She's not talking. Like she's just in one room. And then the next time you see her, she's in another room.
Yeah.
That's scary because It's the in between. It's what you don't see. It's what's implied that's terrifying. But Chucky's like, come here, you bitch! I'm gonna fucking gut you. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not scared. Like, get the fuck out of here, Chucky.
Yeah.
Like, I'll throw your ass off the fuck. I will roof Chucky. Stop playing with me.
Yeah, no, Chucky. For the people who weren't scared of the movie, like, yeah, they'll mess Chucky up. You know, like, football kick you, do all that stuff. But like me as a little kid, like I like you were like thinking deep about it, like at a younger age. Like right now, I'm like, yeah, I'm not scared of Chucky at all. But back then, I was scared to death of Chucky. Candyman was another one, just original Candyman. I just hated it. Just thought of looking in a mirror and getting, you know, saying the words and getting scared. So I hated that. Like Candyman was a early scary one for me, but I love Candyman now.
Yeah. So another reason that horror movies didn't exactly get to me was because like every horror movie I saw was always in a house. And like so like Halloween in a house, Scream in a house, Evil Dead in a cabin, but Candyman was in the projects.
Yeah. And
I was like, oh shit. Hold on. This shit can happen here? That's the
No, you give me your bag. You get deep and intricate into it, okay?
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. Wait. They got ghosts in the projects? Nah, this is different. So that's the one that scared me. That and Jason Takes Manhattan.
Oh wow.
Like Friday the 13th, like part 12 or 13, whatever. There's too many of them shits. Yeah. But like, bro, Jason Takes Manhattan, I was like, oh nah, they're doing too much right
it's
now.
Here, like it's close to me.
Like, yeah, I was never scared of like Michael Myers and shit because like that motherfucker was in Illinois. You know what I'm saying? Like I never been there. Like at that time, I had never been there before. I didn't have shit to worry about. Like what the fuck? Like
exactly.
He out in Haddonfield. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm from the Bronx, bro. I ain't got shit to worry about. Yeah. Then I seen Jason Takes Manhattan, and I was like, oh nah, he hop on the 4 train is over for me. Like,
so you were thinking of like, yo, like the closer you get, like this shit could be real. Like I can relate again, it's relatable moments compared to, you know, non-relatable moments for you. You're like, yo, I ain't in a house. Like I live in the city. Like this is what happened to me. Then you're like, oh shit, Jason pulling up. Like he could potentially pull up and wow, okay. Yeah, no, that's
how I saw it. Yeah.
That's some interesting thinking. Yeah, so my wife, and she's like, especially at night, she's like, I'm not trying to watch any horror films because she still gets nightmares, I guess, you know, from watching movies. So I don't watch too many horror films. Like when I do, I kind of got to watch it by myself. And I watch it during the daytime. She's not messing with it, so I don't watch too many horror films. You know, I try to watch everything with her, but if she don't want to watch it, I'm just like, well, I'm good. I'll just wait a little bit to check things out. But yeah, I definitely like to watch horror films on my free time when I can. Like I said, I have a love-hate. But yeah, I love horror films. I can see why you're so, you know, passionate about it, because it's deep, and your way of thinking about horror films is definitely interesting as well.
Yeah,
love that.
It's thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And like horror films were just like really the progenitor of it. But like it's kind of how I think of all film. You know what I mean? Like that's how I approach all film. It's like at the end, like, because I'm in production now, so like I mean I'm in TV, so it's different. It's a little different, but like, you know, a production is a production, and like there's a reason there's credits at the end, because every single name in those credits made that shit happen.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So like whether it's a drama, comedy, a horror film, you know what I'm saying? Like a team of people got together and cared enough to make the shit happen. And like horror films, like, you know, there's like I have a special like appreciation for them, because like it just like, I don't know, bro, like it I just like that shit, you know? I think like fear is such a primal sensation, and like it's one that people can't help. Like that's the only one you can't help. Fear, there's two you can't help. There's fear and hunger. You cannot help being hungry, and you cannot help being afraid. You can help everything else. If you're angry, calm your ass down. You know what I'm saying? You're anxious, breathe, close your eyes, meditate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you hungry, bro, no amount of fucking thinking is going to change that shit. When you scared, like,
yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Damn, like I say, you spin right now. You spin. That's some deep stuff. That's some deep stuff. All right, let's
Thanks,
shift over
man.
because obviously, my bread and butter is video games, and you love video games
Oh
too.
yeah.
You already mentioned
Thank
Hearst
you.
Boy started in 2017. So talk a little bit about that, and then let's get into your favorite video game of all time. So how did Hearst Boy start? Why did you start it, and what are you currently doing with it right now?
Okay, so Hearst Boys right now, we're trying to like we're trying to get a handle of like our identity and stuff because like here's the thing, like if we had started this shit when we were like 17, we'd probably be on top of the world right now. But that's not the case. So I'm not gonna waste time dwelling on it. I'm just gonna move how I move. And the same goes for my guys. You
Mm,
know, we're
okay.
some of us are in our 30s. I'm 29. The youngest member of Hearst Boys is 26. The oldest is 32. You know what I'm saying? So we are all grown ass men with our own relationships, me with children, and we all have bills. You know what I'm saying? So we can't dedicate as much time as we want to Hearst Boys, but the time we can dedicate to it is time well spent.
Yeah.
And right now, so my objective right now with Hearst Boys is to shift into fashion. Like I want Hearst Boys to be a name in fashion.
Mm,
Because like I love our logo. I think that what we bring to the table is something unique. And I think that like a lot of gamer merch, a lot of the time, not to throw shade at anybody really, but like I just think like a lot of streamers have like really corny merch. Like it's just like you know what I mean? Like it's just not fashionable.
yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, what if Hearst Boys bridges that gap? What if like I want Hearst Boys to be something that like people who have never watched a single stream can wear, and people who fuck with us can wear.
Yeah.
You know, whereas
No,
like fucking yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, yeah, that's everything. And I had a similar mindset because I'm in Game Illuminati, and we've been doing this since 2013,
Yeah.
And we're literally in the same situation. Like when we started, I was in my early 20s. I was still living in St. Louis. Moved down to
Yeah.
Florida. Now I got a whole wife. I got a kid. I
Yeah.
got a kid on the
We're
way.
doing it.
Yeah, and we already had some people who already had their children. They already had their 9 to 5, their lives. So it was always hard for everybody to get together. Some people don't make content at all anymore. Some people shifted their focus to like music and other things. So we had to try to shift what we were doing on a daily basis, content wise, the different things. Like we used to do YouTube, and now like a lot of us just stream, and some of us don't do anything at all but just play games. So it's fine, but like the core people, like we still try to quote unquote like keep things alive. Like I've had to literally shift my entire daily content schedule around my wife and kid, and my nine to five
It's
too.
like that.
So it's hard. Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely gets hard, but you just got to find a way to navigate it. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head with the quote unquote little gamer fashion. And that was an objective of mine too. Like I don't want people to just wear our name on a shirt. Like what is that? Especially if you don't know who it is. You want something that someone who was off the street, who knows nothing about anything that you have going on, to be like, hey, like I like that logo. I like what's on that shirt. Where did you get that shirt? Or where did you get those pants or whatever? And then like, hey, I want to rock it. Not knowing anything. You don't have to be a part of the culture. You don't have to know anything about it. But it's just like, I like your shit. Like I want to wear it. So yeah, that's the objective.
Yeah, and that's why I fuck with Camp Yost so much, man. Like Camp Yost, Yost is an acronym. It's Your Own Society, and he's Donovan is another designer from the Bronx, and like that like his tote bags, my favorite totes of all time. Like they're super durable. Like they have a zipper. They have a fucking zipper. Oh my god, a tote with a zipper, a concept. You know what I'm saying? Like like his designs are so amazing, and like they hit that intersection like that we were talking about that you just brought up, because he had two totes. He had the volume 1 joint and the volume 2, and he just recently 2 days ago, matter of fact, he just dropped the different colorways for volume 2. and they were red, green, and blue, and they were modeled after the starter Pokemon in Kanto, red, red, green, and blue.
Mm-hmm.
But the totes are so fashionable that like you don't have to know shit about Pokemon to fuck with them.
Right.
Like you could just get the red tote because the red tote is fire. But if you do know about Pokemon, it's a plus. So it's like I just love how Donovan like is constantly appealing to like different demographics like all at once. You know what I'm saying? Like it's fucking beautiful to see. So anyway, yosapparel.com. It's fucking amazing. YOS Apparel. Sorry for the plug, but you know, I had to handle my man right. You know what I'm
saying? Again, saw your social media, had no clue what Cambios was, and immediately when I saw your plug, your video, I was like, okay, like I'm not into toast like that, but I was like, let me check out and see what else he has on the site. I was like, okay, like shirts and stuff, like it's concept, like this stuff is obviously sold out because it was limited releases, but I was like, okay, I was like, this is something that I could legitimately mess with too. So again, I do my research on everything. Like I see what other people are doing, like whether it's your own stuff or whether you're plugging somebody else's stuff. And I take a look, like I do my research. It takes only a couple seconds to look. And I was like, okay, like I see why you mess with it. And again, it's, Brock shit. So I know you're like all about that, like anything Brock's, I'm sure you're like, just soaking it all in. So that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So yeah, I want to see what you all will come up with in the future. I know you're a very fashionable guy. Again, you and the Skechers, like you and these Skechers, bro. Like you were really telling people, man. Like, bro, these Skechers, I'm messing with them. I don't care what y'all think. I'm making these joints fashionable. Like I'm putting them with my fits, bro. I'm getting them with my fits. No, this is fire. So video games, what are you playing right now? That's a better question. What are you playing right now?
So you asked my top 5, which I completely digressed. My fault on
that's
that.
Fine. That's fine.
But my top 5, my top 5 will probably be, and I know we spent a bunch of time on my top 5 films, but video games I can narrow down. So right up at the top is Death Stranding. Death Stranding is my favorite video game of all time.
Ooh, okay. All right. Please spend a little bit of time on that, because Death Stranding as a video game, like the technicality of the video game, I could not finish. But I understand why the story gets you. So please explain. Like, was it really the story? Because you can't tell me you love that FedEx Simulator, man. Like
it's my favorite game ever, man. It just did everything it did everything that I ask a video game to do. It's like, okay, give me, and I played on the hardest difficulty, which I never do. But I played it on the hardest difficulty because I was like, okay, you know what? This is clearly like Hideo Kojima is selling us an experience with this game, clearly. Right? Like some people are out to make a video game. Like Hotline Miami, that's a video game ass video game. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Hades, that's a video game ass video game. Even older examples like Mega Man, video game ass fucking video game. Right? Basically any platformer, any dungeon crawler, like those are video game. But like something like a Death Stranding from a AAA studio, well, I guess.
Yeah, it's like, can you consider him that? Yeah, Kojima. I mean, he can be, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, he can afford Norman Reedus, Leah Seydoux, like
he can do whatever he wants. Yeah, his connections are crazy. So I guess we can consider him that, at least for this conversation.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro. I mean, Guillermo del Toro. Like, he's a AAA studio. So
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that game has insane replay value to me. Like it's so good. It does everything I need it to do. I'm going to stream Death Stranding and it's going to be the most entertaining stream anybody has ever seen. And I promise you, I'm going to make that shit happen. Like, I'm going to make fucking Death Stranding the #1 streamed game on Twitch. I'm going to set out to do that shit because people are misplaying that game and like misinterpreting the whole fucking point of it. And like, I hate how pretentious that sounds, but like people just get so caught up in like hype culture, whether it's negative hype or positive hype, that like whatever the status quo is, if a bunch of people are hating on something and that's just the cool thing to do, people will just bandwagon that shit. But not me, man. I gotta get my own opinion always, all the time.
Yeah.
And on Death Stranding, I was like, nah, this is it. This game is going to be it. And I was like, yo, it's been so long since I had seen a video game that played with concepts that I had never, ever fucking seen before anywhere else, you know? Or if I had seen them anywhere else, they were from that creator.
Yeah.
So, like, the combat system in Death Stranding, that's ripped straight out of Metal Gear. It's straight out of Metal Gear. So I don't understand people being like, you know, oh, it's a walking simulator. It's dystopian Animal Crossing. Like, okay, cool. Sure. What that tells me is that you didn't play more than 5 minutes of it. Because when you got to the combat sections, it was fucking nuts. Especially on the harder difficulty. It was fucking crazy. So, yeah, whatever. But anyway, Death Stranding is right at the fucking top.
Okay.
Right under that is Skyrim.
All right.
I probably spent 2 summers inside playing Skyrim. Like, my friends did not see me for like 2 years because I was just in the house playing Skyrim. Mega Man X, and if we want to count this as one game, fuck it, I'm counting it as one game. Mega Man X Legacy Collection.
Okay, all right.
All those shits, fuck it. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
And what was that, 4? That was
4, that's right? 4.
And last one would probably be Resident Evil 4.
I was like, bro, I was watching your stream. I was like, it has to be some Resident Evil in there.
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. That's a good list. No, that's a good list. I mean, that's a tough one. I don't think anybody would have Death Stranding as a number 1. I mean, I don't think a lot of people have it in their top 5. So, like I said, that's what set you apart. I need to.
But the few of us that do, we know it's good.
You're inspiring me to give that another chance. I bought the game and I played maybe a couple hours. And
did you buy it because of me?
No, no.
Okay.
No,
because I was tweeting about it for a while, and I just, like.
No, this was a game because I wouldn't say I'm a huge Hideo Kojima fan, but I did like Metal Gear. So I wanted to see what he wanted to cook up next, and I didn't understand like what I was doing in the beginning sections. I did see a little bit of combat after the fact, but I didn't get to experience it myself. And so I just put it down. I don't know what else was out at that moment, but I'm the type of person that if something doesn't immediately move me within the first couple hours and there's something else out, then I will just go to something else. And that's also based on the fact that like my gaming tastes have changed, and also the way that I play games have changed because I want to play as many games as possible that I actually enjoy, so I can talk about it on the podcast or do my first impressions or stream it or something. So I typically don't stay on one game for too long unless like I absolutely like or just in love with it and just need to beat it for talking purposes. Or for my, my personal enjoyment of it. So the things changed. And I think that was mainly the reason why I was like, well, I don't want to spend too much time on this if I am not finding myself enjoying it. And like we talked about it for a little bit, me and the crew, and then we just, kind of just moved on. But I was always interested in it enough because I was like, well, I don't understand what's going on. This is a Hideo Kojima production. It has all these, A+ stars in it. So I want to see what's going on, and I never took the time to like look at a YouTube video or anything about it, but I want to go back and like at least give it another shot after you, because you were very compelling with what you're saying here, and you put in your number 1. That is super high regard, especially of all time. So I want to at least try it out.
Yeah. So what's funny is actually we're on, we're chatting on Discord right now, so I am going to send you my review of it. Right here on Discord, so that way, I reviewed it as part of this series called 1 Month Later, where like I was doing this thing, another YouTube series, but I was doing this thing where like I was like, okay, what if instead of rushing to review it 2 days after it fucking drops, what if I like wait, like what if I give it time? What if I let it simmer? What if I take my time with this video game and I review it a month later? And I did that, and it was a pretty popular series, but the highest, and what's funny is the most views I ever got on any of those is the Death Stranding one.
Well, look at that.
That's what it is. Yeah. So I'm gonna copy that and I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna take a look. All right. So final question for you, and I feel like this is going to be a little scatterbrained because you seem to again want to do everything, but you already kind of mentioned some of the things that you want to get into. But what does Rainey see as his end goal? So the thing that you want to do, or things, because again, it seems like it's going to be plural here. But what does Rainey want to do when he is like at the final stages of his life? Like, are there other things besides, because you say you want to be an actor, but what else does Rainey want to do outside of media consulting, being an artist, sex work, tattooing? It's a lot of things. Like you have a very long list of things. But what does Rainey want to do when all is said and done?
I want to make movies. Like I want to star in them, write, direct, produce. Like just like I want to be involved in the filmmaking process. Like whether
Mm,
it's producer, whether I'm just the money, whether I'm just like, oh, whether my friends want to make fucking miniseries and they go, yo, Rainey, I need 100K, like to dump into this project, like, and I'll be like, all right, bet, executive producer, like, you know what I'm saying, like, here, go to Grant, do your thing, you know what I'm saying, and then I get residuals.
mm,
Um, and I just want to own like I want like a commune, bunch of property and shit where like, you know what I'm saying, people come through. I want like a Rick Rubin situation where like, or The Alchemist. Like I want like Alchemist Rick Rubin situation where it's like open door policy, like creatives, artists, whatever can just come through and vibe and hang out and like just create, like just fucking make shit happen. Like I want to cultivate that sort of like I want to cultivate that comfortable environment um for artists and people and whatever. And like I just really ultimately like at the end of the day, like I just want my kids to be proud of me. Like I want my kids to think that I was a good dad to them.
man.
It's really the main thing.
Man, super dope, super dope. Especially from a fellow father myself. I know we didn't get truly into that, but I don't want to hold you too long with this interview. But I knew it was going to be like this, and that's why again, like I had these questions set up because I knew that you were going to, really get into your bag with these type of situations.
Yeah.
But this is what I love, though. This is why I wanted to have this conversation with you, because I learned a lot more about you than what I just see on social media. And again, I felt like this was very important for others to hear along with myself. Because again, this is more like a personal diary for me, like interviewing other people, like whether they're my homies or just people who, I mess with, but have not spoken to before. Like it's sort of like a therapy for me, because there are so many different stories that, I haven't heard yet, and so many different ways of life, so many different ways that we grew up, so many different ways that we are currently in our lives, so many different ways that we want to be. So it's so many different lanes that we're all in. But, it's super important. And I love having these type of conversations with people who inspire me. Like I say, you're like a do it all, like a Swiss Army knife right now. Like you've done so many things and you have so many other things that you want to do. And I believe with your talent, your personality, you can do everything really. You just, and you already mentioned that, when you get into something, like you give it like your all, like you don't want to half-ass anything that you're into at this point. So like I said, any lane that you end up falling in, I think that, you're going to do it to the best of your ability, and you're going to make it happen. So appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. No, thank you so much, bro. Like, I mean, I appreciate the patience. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate like with the rescheduling and all that. Like, I think you're a phenomenal dude, bro. Like, I appreciate you doing all this fucking like all this homework and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like in preparation for this thing, and like, clearly you're doing something right. You know what I mean? Like you got, you know what I'm saying? You got a wife, you got a crib, you got a baby, another one on the way. Like that's fantastic, bro. Like a lot of motherfuckers can't say they got that shit, and like you already winning, bro. So
Yeah, it's really crazy because the last interview that I had was with one of my homies, and um again, we haven't had those personal conversations. Like I have a lot of mutuals, like I have a lot of people who I mess with in this industry that I met over the years, but I haven't had personal conversations with them, like about their lives, how they got to where they are. And like I said, it was very important. And he told me, he was like, yo, I didn't think you still mess with me like that. And I'm like, bro, I'm never ever like that with anybody who I
Yeah,
mess
you're
with.
not
Like
gonna change up out of nowhere.
yeah, and I don't see how people are like that. Like we cannot talk for years, and the minute that I hit you up or you hit me up, it's like we talked yesterday. That's how I've always been with any of my relationships, whether it's people I met in high school, college, later on the years. Like if I mess with you, I mess with you. Like it's up and it's stuck. At a certain
Yeah,
point, like
yeah,
unless you do something crazy, then I'm just like, hey, I'm not messing with you no more. But we can at least talk about it, before we get to that point.
yeah.
But I told him what was going on with me and where my life was. He was like, bro, I truly, envy that. He was like, that's something that, I talk about it with another homie too, who got, got a wife and got kids. He was like, man, he was like, I really, I envy your life like that. Like this shit is cool. And like, it hit me. I was like, damn, like, I really do. Like for a lot of people have that quote unquote perfect life. Like they don't know how I got to that point. But, if I explained it, when I talk about it, then it kind of makes sense. But like from the outside looking in, it's like, yeah, JG, he got a house, he got a good 9 to 5, like he got a daughter and one on the way. And again, I don't think anything of it, but when I look back in hindsight, like even on my own life, I'm like, yo, like this, it's really a blessing. It really is a blessing. Yeah. And, again, to other people, like they may see that as, envious or whatever, or they really just, see that as a perfect situation. And, it's unfortunately can't be like that for everybody. But, you can try to, again, just, live the life to your best ability of your ability. And, I'll never brag about anything. I'm always humble about literally every single thing, about my life. So but it just put things more into perspective for me, hearing that from him. It definitely did.
Yeah, man.
Definitely did.
Yeah, and that perspective is like, man, like the most like I think the internet has commodified this the internet has commodified this that I'm about to mention, but like there's nothing more priceless than like fucking basic human interaction, bro. Like just like you being a human being and taking in another human being's experience and then like applying it to yours or them applying yours to theirs. Like that shit is priceless, bro. That's invaluable. You cannot put a fucking dollar amount on that shit because like at the end of the day, like we're all people and we're all the same, but you'd be like it's insane how different our experiences are really. And like how all those experiences like speak to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very beautiful when you think about it. I mean, it can be sad at times because, again, a lot of people go through a lot more hardships and stuff. And like I said, I've heard that throughout my years. Like, just like you, like I didn't have my dad, like he came around a couple times and, just bounced out. And, I never let that deter me in, one bit. Like I understood at a very young age, like it is what it is. I didn't understand why he, didn't want to take care of me. But I ain't let that shit, I ain't let this shit define me. I was just like, whatever. Yeah. Like I'm gonna grow my life. I'm gonna live my life. And when I get to be an adult and I find a lady, I'm gonna be with her. And if I have a kid with, I'm gonna take care of my damn kid. That was my goal. And look at me. I got a kid that has lived to see 3 years old, and she's about to be 4 next year. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm doing a good job, right? Like, that's again, this stuff is just it sounds simple, but it's really not, when you really think about it. But again, like I'm just blessed and, thankful for, where I am now. Cause I never would have thought that I would be at this point, at almost 35 years of age. So it's great. It's definitely great. So,
yeah, man.
So again, not to hold too much of your time. Thank you so much, Rainey, for joining me for this conversation. Please tell everyone where they can find you, all of your social medias, all that jazz.
Yeah, thank you so much, JG. I pretty much everywhere at Rainey Ovalle. It's Rainey Rainey, Ovalle OV as in Victor ALLE. Uh, that's all my handles everywhere. I feel like my name is my brand, and my name is the one thing nobody can take from me. So, it's me. And my IG is mostly for my tattoo work, which I'm not doing at the moment. My Twitter is my fucking wall of shit that I just throw shit at and like hope something sticks. And on YouTube, you can find us at Hearst Boys. On Twitch, you can find us at Hearst Boys. That's my gaming organization / content creation house / fashion house. Um, yeah. So you can find us everywhere at Hearst Boys, HEARSE Boys. And you can find me everywhere at Rainey Ovalle. And yeah, that's I hope to, see you guys on the other side of whatever else I got going on.
Yes,
Dark
sir. Yes,
Summer
sir.
comes out soon.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, Dark Summer EP comes out soon. It comes out this summer, followed by Urban Tundra, which comes out this winter. I'm working on both simultaneously, so yeah, be on the lookout for those. Available on all platforms you can stream music eventually, and yeah, that's what I got going on. So yeah, JG, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you. Thank you. And with that being said, I will see you all for the next episode. I hope that you enjoyed this conversation with Rainey here. Please watch, like, comment, watch the earlier videos too. Again, very important conversations with the other folks who I have talked to already. I have some more people in mind, so stay tuned. I'm trying to keep this as consistent as possible with my dad life and regular 9 to 5. So again, just work with me. I know I took a little bit off, but like I said, we back to back with it. We back to back with these interviews. So again, with that being said, I will see you all next time. Peace.